Hello to you, my friends. This is Karli, and I am excited to be bringing you a very special episode of This is Friendship today to you, wherever you are listening. This is our first episode with guests. I am here without Andi and Joy because our guest episodes are going to be led by one of us. So I'm here today. If this happens to be your first time listening to one of our episodes, what an awesome time for you to be joining us. And if we've become your weekly cup of tea and inspiration, we are blown away by your support. We think you are pretty fantastic, and we are so grateful for you spending time here with us. You can do us a huge favor by helping us spread the word about This is Friendship. We will be forever grateful if you tell a friend to listen, hit the follow or subscribe button, or write us a review. Andi, Joy, and I want to grow the supportive community of women, and we can't do it without you. If you follow us on Instagram, you have seen our posts inviting women in our community to be on an upcoming episode. Andi, Joy, and I really want to support you, our listeners, and include you in what we do here on the podcasts. Today's guests reach out to us, and here they are. With me today, I have Ashli and Louise. They are listeners of This is Friendship and women in our community, and I'm very excited to have them here with me today. Ladies, we're going to get started. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourselves and how your friendship began?
Hi, I'm really excited to be on. My name is Ashli. I am actually Andi's sister-in-law, so I'm really excited to be on here, and I wanted to support her and all of you guys because I met all of you at her wedding. So I'm super excited to be here with my best friend, Louise. A little bit about me. I'm obsessed with astrology, and I'm a Leo, in case you couldn't tell from big hair. I don't know. It's kind of flat right now, but I just washed it. I love astrology. I really like my dog. She's the love of my life. Even though I've been in a relationship for 9 years, dog is still the love of my life. I really, really want to start traveling again soon after the past year and a half. Louise and I are actually going to Disney in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't even know anymore, but I'm really excited for that. Our friendship started when we were 18, 19 years old, so about 10 years ago. We had an interesting start to our friendship because we didn't actually like each other at first until we started working together. At my first job, I think it was Louise's second job or third, I'm not really sure, but we started working together in retail, and it was really weird because I didn't expect to like her, but it was just like really fast friends, and we are both really ridiculous people and love to laugh and make each other laugh and people around us. So we kind of just bonded over really dumb stuff and became really quick friends.
That's awesome. Thank you, Ashli. Yeah. It's beautiful to have you here. Yeah. And I don't want anyone to feel that we favorited you because you are Andi's sister-in-law, but you reached out to us. It was an open invitation, and we're so happy that you did. We didn't want to apply any pressure to women that didn't want to be part of it. So we let everyone reach out.
I was so excited to reach out, actually. I was like, I want to get on the podcast, but I don't want to ask Andi just to be like, hey, so can I get on here? Because I want to try a podcast. This is the first one I've ever done, but I'm really happy that it happened organically like that. So
yeah, great. All right, why don't we move over to Louise? Tell us about you, and let's hear your side of how you guys became friends.
Yeah, hi, I am Louise Jones. I'm a UX designer by trade. I work at Mutual of Omaha, and I've been married for just over 3 years now. I'm a dog mom and a sister and daughter. I'm avid coffee drinker and traveler whenever I can, and video game player. Same thing, basically what Ashli said. When we were younger, we just knew each other from school, and I think it was one of those things where we're both a little bit introverted. So we're like, who is that person? I don't know. I don't think I like her. Yeah, when we worked together, I think we bonded over, I think we both saw how genuine we were. We both really loved Lord of the Rings and making dinosaur noises while we were working, and it was just,
oh my God,
it was a very silly, genuine friendship. So yeah, that's basically how we became friends. We just bonded late at night.
Yeah, I kind of want to mention that story of the dinosaur noises because I feel like I can't gloss over that because it's ridiculous. It's part of why I said that we are just really ridiculous humans. At the retail store we were working at, we were doing inventory overnight. And so we were there until probably 5 a.m. and we were hysterical, so sleep deprived, just the weirdest conversations. But I think we were doing shoes or something, and there were those shoes that were really popular at one point that were like the peep toe heel. Your foot kind of slides forward in them. And we were like, that kind of makes your toes look like little raptor talons. That's where that conversation delved into, was velociraptor noises with our little toe claws made with our hands. So that's that story.
My background is retail as well, so I can definitely empathize with the crazy things that happen on inventory nights in the very early morning hours.
Yes.
You guys obviously have a good time together, and that's how your friendship was started. I know that you have a very interesting story. Something that I really wanted to dive into today is you've had a business together. So I'm very interested in learning how that all came about. One of you probably could take this question and the other person could interject, but what led you to starting a business together from your friendship?
I think it came together really serendipitously. I had been dating somebody right around when Ashli and I became friends, actually. And he had a t-shirt creation or t-shirt store online. And that was when there were like a few different creators in Omaha that we had seen that were creating these t-shirt shops online. And I was really inspired by that. That was actually what led me to go to school for design, because I was really fascinated with the process of coming up with an idea and turning that into a visual and then applying that to a physical object. It was really fascinating. So I went to school for that, and I had been still working in the retail world and actually got laid off the December before we started our business. So it was just a little bit of extra time. And I think Ashli and I had been joking around here and there. We like these shops, and wouldn't it be cool to do this ourselves? And oh, I've got a sketchbook at home with ideas in it that could be cool on a shirt. And I remember really explicitly, we were leaving our friend who's my husband now. It was his house because we all watched The Walking Dead together every Sunday. And it was just this moment of, well, you know, if you ever actually want to do the thing, you know, and we're both like finger guns at each other, like, do we want to do this? Should we do this?
I will say one of the funny thing about our friendship is we'll lock eyes and raise our eyebrows and be like, this is serious, right? So we had one of those moments then, and it was just really, like she said, serendipitous. It was really cool.
Yeah. And so we were just like, okay, well, let's actually pick a time, text me, and let's actually meet up. So we went to Village Inn on February 12th in 2014. That was really where it started. We drank loads of coffee and we showed each other our very vulnerable sketchbooks ideas. We saw common themes of adventure and travel even from that point. That really became themes throughout our whole business. And we really had no close role models, I think, to look up to or people to ask of how to start a business. So we were like, neither of us know anything, so let's learn together. Let's just do it.
I love that.
That ending part, we really did go into it. We're going to do it, and we have no idea how. And it took us almost a full year to actually drop any product because it was such a learning curve. Ran into roadblocks or people that gave interesting feedback. And the whole thing was a great learning process. I liked it a lot. Now looking back on it, at the time it was frustrating, but now it's, you know what, I'm kind of glad that we didn't have any past experience because it made it more interesting.
Did you guys have people that were mentors to you that you found along the way, or did you guys really just figure it out on your own?
Mentor wise, similar business model or business type, I don't really feel like there was, but we met a lot of other really great creatives and small business owners that definitely inspired us and helped us in other ways with support, or at one point in time we did throw our own events and they just believed in us in that moment, and it was really great. I don't know about mentor, but collaborative.
So the two of you decided to do this. You're approaching a major learning curve. How did your friendship enhance your business, do you think?
I think it made it more fun. It definitely also felt less pressured. if we were having a day that something's not going right here, or maybe we just need to take a breather, it was okay. I feel like we're on the same page, and it was not as like much pressure behind making those decisions to take a break or push each other a lot. I think that creatively we have not similar styles, but we can bounce ideas back and forth really well. And I'm a terrible artist. I'm okay at sketching, but all of our designs had to be translated. So she was very much able to understand what was going on in my head when I wanted to relay it. And I think that if I didn't have one of my best friends involved in a business like that, something creative, you have to have someone that understands you. And ask anyone in our lives. Sometimes we share the same brain, even though we are so different in our core. We are very similar, and so that helps. Yeah, I think that it made the experience overall really pleasant.
You were in your early 20s when you started this adventure. What else was going on in your life at the time besides this?
For me, I had just gotten out of retail at that time. I took about 6 months off of working, and I had just started college, I think a year or so prior. So in school full time and really just trying to figure out the business at first. And then I went back to work, and that's when I got into more of the marketing field. And so that really helped a lot because I was able to learn getting paid more full-time to really dive into the marketing field helped in those beginning stages of the business.
For me, I was still working full-time. My life hadn't really had much of a change, but I felt like because I was still in retail, I was able to really be flexible with my hours and make our business happen. That helped. I think the fact that she had such a break in time, and then I was able to be like, okay, let me know, and then I will make it work. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a lot going on. It was the side hustle thing that everyone talks about. You guys were doing it way before it was a buzzword. And it sounds to me that you had pretty full plates. You were hustling for sure. We talked about how your friendship enhanced your business. So why don't we talk about the flip side of that coin, about what struggles you encountered within your working relationship and how you overcame them and how you're still friends today?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
That was definitely a challenge at the beginning, I think, especially with our first release. I think it was just so stressful because it was so much of us put into it, so much of our, again, vulnerabilities, trying to figure out how to do a business. Are people going to even like what we've created? At that point, you have no feedback or anything to go off of. So that year especially was hard. And I think we really had to learn how to communicate with each other as coworkers. We'd work together, but in that kind of teenage retail space, it's just different. You don't have to figure out how to do conflict resolution or communicate what you're wanting. At one point in time where we had a bigger disagreement in our first launch, and we just learned by doing at that point. We took, I think, a couple days break because we were only meeting about twice a week, which worked out really well because we could step away from it and we can come back and say, okay, I really want to keep going. This is really important to me. You're important to me as a friend. So let's talk through this. And from there, I think it was just, it set the precedence for the rest of the working relationship to communicate, to realize when you're having a disagreement early on and just talk about it right there. It took almost a whole year for us to set up the first launch. So it was like a year of stress and learning each other's strengths and weaknesses and how to divide up the work and who wanted to do what. So it was all of that that kind of came together, and we had to talk through it. We had to learn from there. And I still talk about it to this day in my day-to-day work, how now I can work with people and be friends with them because I think I learned so much working with Ashli of how to communicate better. But also, if you are having a disagreement, a lot of times we would go to a friend's event afterwards, or we would hang out because we were still friends. So we'd have to learn how to, okay, work is done. I'm going to compartmentalize that. We'll talk about that later. Now we're friends. Let's just hang out,
Yeah, she nailed it. We're very non-confrontational people, generally speaking. So I think that when things felt like something was very off, both of us held on to it for a while, and then it became a thing. like she said, communication was a big thing that we had to learn. It was almost like we'd flip a switch and it would be like, this has to be a coworker's kind of conversation. It was almost funny because you could hear our tones change. I would love to be like a fly on the wall in our meetings when something like that happened, because we're going to have this conversation and it's going to be a little weird. It's going to be a little awkward. There's usually a little silence after, and then we're fine. Like she said too, after our meetings are done, it's basically, okay, we're friends. We're just chatting like normal friends would, which is nice. I think that it's not easy for a lot of people, and it wasn't easy for us at first, I don't think, but I think that it's something that was really special about our working relationship.
Something that strikes me, your maturity level when you were that young, being able to work through that. Because I do feel a lot of people would not still be friends 7 years later. That just speaks to how good of friends you are and how much you were committed to both the project and to each other as friends. That's really amazing. And for you guys to support each other like that. I'm so happy that you're sharing your stories today, because that's what This is Friendship is all about. Being able to not like each other for a little bit, not in a business relationship necessarily, but friends. You get annoyed, you get aggravated, and to be able to rise above that and to be able to recognize how important your friendship is to you, that's really cool. You've made a pretty difficult decision. We talked to me about how you went about your decision of not being in business anymore together.
A really big theme in our business relationship was serendipitous moments. And Louise texted me, I think that we should have a conversation about where we're at and seriously consider maybe shutting down our business. And I was like, you know what's weird? I was just thinking that 2 days ago, but I couldn't write it down without, I mean, it's a very emotional decision to make. So I couldn't even think about typing anything up to send to her without crying. And it's funny because I'm a very emotional person, and I'm not saying that Louise isn't, but she definitely approaches things a little more practically than I do. So I think her also approaching me first was very on brand. It's very our personalities. That's where it started. We really considered all of our options. We wrote 3 different options that we thought of, wrote down pros and cons, and took a week to really think on it, talk to our significant others, see what they thought, because throughout the whole thing, we've been seeing the same people. So we wanted to talk it out, get a feel for if they had any other ideas for what could help the situation. I think in the end, we both were comfortable with the decision to shut down and what that process would look like and so on. So
you mentioned the side hustle thing, and it was definitely, years and years of between school and work and running the business. I don't know if we ever had a week where we worked less than 60 hours. At the beginning, everything is new and challenging. And then after some time, it became more of routine. We loved having our clothes in stores. That was amazing, and all the businesses that supported us. But that was a big part of our day-to-day, was refilling those orders. And then doing the pop-ups, a lot of them are outdoors, the local events. And all of it was bittersweet because we loved seeing people. We loved meeting customers. That was something that you don't really get while you're in an online store space. But then at the same time, it's like so much work, much work to load up, especially all the types of merchandise that we had towards the end, because we expanded into home goods and decor and clothing, and it was awesome and it was draining, and it wasn't as much of a big, exciting challenge as it was in the beginning. It was still something we loved, but we also talked too, when we were first starting out, we had a dream of having a brick and mortar store one day, or having a very busy online store. And we were talking and reevaluating. This is the first time as adults where we haven't just been running towards that goal. And what are our goals now? What do we really want to do at this point in time in our lives? So I think that was kind of part of it too, is an opportunity to reevaluate our goals and maybe shake off some of the things that had felt a little bit more like burdens over time. Not that we weren't grateful for it, but it was just a lot.
I sometimes completely forget how much time we spent on it outside of our full-time jobs, full 7 years. That usually surprised people too when we would talk about it. So that's just something that I usually forget, is that it was a lot of hours in a week. It wasn't as exciting, or the things that we would think about the idea of a brick and mortar. Is that something we still want? What's the future of this going to look like? I definitely latched onto it because after you do something for 7 years, you feel like it's a safe space and this has to work. Otherwise, what else do I have? And that's not really the best. I know that I really wanted to find something in addition to our business, and it was difficult with also having to maintain orders, social media, and making sure that I was doing my part for our business and then my everyday life too.
I have to touch on something that each of you said that has been a little bit of a recurring theme in our This Is Friendship podcast. I'm in my early 50s, and it's that midlife. Am I supposed to be doing this? What do I want to do now? And Louise, you mentioned stepping back and being able to check your priorities and where you wanted to spend your time, and was this the right thing? And then Ashli, you mentioned getting very emotional about it and being tied to it because you spent 7 years doing it. I feel that a lot of women aren't brave enough to take those steps. So again, kudos to both of you for being able to look at, is this the right thing? And then it's something that I'm very comfortable with, and letting go of it is scary. It's very emotional, but you were able to spend the time and take that leap of doing what was right for you and where you see yourselves going in the future. So I love that you each had a component of that in your experience. You're both pretty amazing women, and I'm so happy you're here sharing your story today, because those are lessons all of us can take with us. And I, as a midlife woman, want to reach down to the younger generations and be able to say, don't wait. It's okay. So it's so great to hear you ladies doing that in your younger years. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Wow. Okay. I'm not feeling emotional at all. My 28th birthday is in a couple weeks, and I feel like a lot of people in our generation tend to feel like they are running out of time as they reach their 30s. And it's just so crazy to think about that too. That's part of some of the decision making thoughts that I had, was I should have a little more direction. But then you have to remember there is more time to achieve the things that you want to achieve. And there is this weird stigma that your 20s have to be the time you figure everything out. And it's overwhelming. That's another recurring theme for me personally, is that feeling of really overwhelming yourself. I want to remind people that are younger than me, like, don't put so much pressure on yourself.
I love that.
I wanted to make sure I didn't take too much credit, because my whole family was always really supportive of us. But I wanted to give a quick shout out to my oldest sister, Abby, because she's always been an inspiration to me in a lot of ways, but she has just throughout her whole life really actively pursued whatever her current interest was. And she does it in a way that she sets her mind to it. She works hard and learns whatever it is. She started as an English teacher, and then she became a deaf educator, and she is now a developer. She's just past 40 now. We actually have the same birthday, so we always say we're twins born 14 years apart. I think I get a little bit of my old soul from her, but I just wanted to give her a shout out, because she's always been an inspiration to me that has made it just a little bit less scary to feel like what's most important, what brings you joy, what makes you happy, what fulfills you, and society rules don't matter.
How amazing to have her in your life as your sister and as your friend's sister, to be able to encourage you in that way. There is so much pressure. I have a daughter near your age, and then a younger daughter who's in her early 20s. I do feel like there's just so much pressure to have it all figured out, and you don't have to. Follow your heart and let things lead you to your passions, and be brave enough to pursue them, and make change when you need to, when things don't feel right. As women, we can definitely support each other more on those lines. So it's great to have you here doing that, and turning around and reaching your hands down to the young women coming up behind you and showing them the way too. Thank you for that. You're not doing that business together anymore for your side hustle. So I would love for you to tell us what projects you're working on now and how this community can support you.
I just recently put out there into the world my virtual assisting website. I stumbled into that, again, serendipitously, with a little bit of a nudge from Louise. I'd seen a couple things online about it already, either on Instagram or TikTok, and she sent me a girl's account that was doing a whole masterclass to really dive into what it is, tools to help, and everything. If anyone doesn't know what a virtual assistant is, it's someone that provides services, admin, people niche down even more to help with specific tasks for photographers, podcasts, and whatnot, and helps provide them with the assistance that they need to scale their business or give them more personal time or whatever they need. And I really felt drawn to it because I really like to provide people with that extra hand they need, but I still want my own freedom. And this is something that I touched on my website on my very first blog, was that I love to help people, and I'm always a huge overachiever in a people pleasing type of role, but then I tend to lose myself in it a little. So virtual assisting was a really good compromise for that because I could work for myself, make my own schedule and everything. I just launched all of that, and I'm starting to reach out to clients or possible clients to see if they want to work with me. It's one of those things where I'm terrified, so I know it's probably the right path for me.
Here you go, being brave again.
I know.
Do you want to share your website address so if people are
yeah.
interested in seeing what you do, they can go there?
Yeah, it's ashleyrenee.com. And right now my social is at Ashli Renee. It's a mixture of business and personal at the moment, just because I like that. I like that you can see who I am as a person and what I'm doing professionally at the same time. I may sometime eventually separate them, but right now it's just all under the at Ashli Renee or ashleyrenee.com.
Spell your name, because I know it's not the common way of spelling it. I'll put this in the listening notes as well, but just so people can hear it.
I should have had the sign or something to hold up. It's ASHLIRENE.com.
Great. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And then your Instagram handle is at Ashli Renee, spelled the same.
Exactly.
Great. All right. How about you, Louise? What projects are you working on right now? And how can this community help you and support you?
Yeah, I actually had a little bit of overlap towards the end of Leon Wren, but about a year and a half ago now, another friend and I, again, learned my lessons working with Ashli and have been able to apply it in this new endeavor. We started working on an app. Originally, our main goal was for it to be for photographers to be able to manage their clients and upload photos and have print-on-demand services from a lot of great vendors, and then share their photography with their clients. So that was our main goal at first, but we've really worked to expand it to have a fully customizable component-based website builder and blogging capabilities. So I think it's really evolved to be for any type of creative who wants to have a space online for a portfolio or blog or website, or if they have client work that they want to store on there. From all the years of Leon Wren, we worked on Squarespace, so learned a lot about what I liked and didn't like, and took all those lessons and been applying it with all the UX experience I've gotten. It's just really exciting to work on a digital application. It's a little bit different than what we've done before. So that app is called Afterify, AFTERIFY, and we are still in alpha right now. We're approaching a beta hopefully soon. If you go to afterify.com, you can sign up to get notified about the beta. And once we get email marketing set up, get some emails. We've also got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. There's just not a whole lot out there right now. That's what we're working on.
It's a really cool app. I've looked at the alpha, and it's all of your different apps put into one, and it's really cool.
Ashli is our #1 user tester.
Their biggest cheerleader.
Here you are supporting each other again. It's amazing. Both of you, pretty fun, fantastic steps out of your comfort zone, brave things that you're working on. Listeners, if you want to support Ashli and Louise, you can go to those websites and learn more about what they're doing and follow them on social too. We're going to use this last question to tie all of our guest episodes together. Andi, Joy, and I, we really believe that friends and friendship make life a happier place to be. So please share with me a time when your life was made better by friends.
I'm going to get personal here for a second and let people know that I struggle with depressive episodes every now and then. And I think that Louise and our whole friend group, we have a pretty tight-knit friend group, are really, really big helps in those moments because they bring me out of the house, dark spaces, even when we're on vacations together. Sometimes it can get a little difficult, and they can make me laugh no matter what in those moments. It makes everything so much better. Mental health is something that I think everyone kind of struggles with, and you can get into a funk of I'm not going to go anywhere. But when you have really good friends and they are like, no, you need to come out, or at least come hang out at our house for a game night or whatever, it just is nice to have people like that in your life.
Thank you for sharing that. Mental health is a really big challenge, and it's not something that people easily talk about. I think 2020 is breaking down some of the walls and barriers around it, but it's been a challenging 16 months for a lot of people who never knew that might be part of their vocabulary. And here they are experiencing some of those things. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you to all the friends out there who help their friends in those situations. Louise, how about you?
I feel like I could find so many examples if I thought about it, but one thing that really stood out to me recently, my husband and I checked off on quarantine bingo adopting a dog last year. And it's our first dog that we've had as adults on our own. And we knew that she had had a difficult life before we got her, and that she had some anxiety issues, and we could have never anticipated the challenges we had to come with her, but we love her so much and she's so sweet. But really, she's only herself around Tony and I. If anybody else is over, she's unfortunately so scared and territorial, she'll be barking. It's just very stressful for her. And we've worked with, a great trainer, and we've been working on it, but progress is very slow. We celebrate every baby step with her. In particular, Ashli, ever since we stopped doing Leo and Ren, we decided we wanted to still hang out every single week. We didn't want to lose that tight connection that we had developed over our time together. So every Tuesday we cook dinner together, something that our significant others probably wouldn't choose to cook with her. And we fumble our way around the kitchen, and then we go roller skating after. It's great. It's like the best day of the week. But every week she is so patient with our dog Penny. We do this whole routine, and we're always trying different things, and she's very patient with her.
I adore that dog. She tolerates me.
Ashley showers her in gifts and treats and everything. We had our first game night back together, like what Ashley's saying, with our friend group too, since the pandemic. And everybody was just so patient. We had Penny in a different room, but when it was time for her to go out, we just didn't want to stress her with seeing a whole group of people in our place. And so they all went and hid quietly in our other bedroom while we took her out, or they'll meet us at the park to practice playing because she doesn't know how to play. So I think the compassion that our friends have had, and the patience, especially Ashley, has had, and the bravery, because she's a German Shepherd. So a scared German Shepherd can be a scary thing. I've just so appreciated it, because the toll that it's taken on us, I think, was more than we ever anticipated. But the support of our friends has really counterbalanced that in a big way.
That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that too, because now all of the dog lovers out there are like, oh.
She does have an Instagram. I'm that typical millennial who made an Instagram for my dogs.
You got to share it, because I think she's probably going to get some followers. What is it? What's her handle?
It's at Penny the German Shep.
Penny?
Yes.
The German Shep. Okay.
Yes.
And I love that Instagram, because obviously I get to see any video of Penny that she takes, but it's just so cute because she has such a goofy personality that is super lovable. I love that people can still see it even if she's not comfortable.
Oh, that's great. I'll put that in the show notes too. Something tells me Penny is going to get more followers than our podcast does.
She needs all the support she can get, so that's great. If only she knew how many people loved her.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Well, I want to thank you both so much for being our first guests, and for sharing your stories so authentically today, and for sharing some things that maybe you hadn't thought about in a while, or maybe you reflected back on and might have been a little bit challenging to talk about. But thank you. It means so much to have you guys here, and for being part of the This Is Friendship community. And I want to say to all of our listeners out there, if you want to be a guest on a future episode, please reach out to us. You can send us a DM on Instagram at This Is Friendship Podcast. You can send us an email at hello@thisisfriendshippodcast.com, or you can head to our website, thisisfriendshippodcast.com, and connect with us there. We would love to hear from you, and we want to have more women in our community join us for future episodes. So I'm going to let Louise and Ashli say farewell for now, and maybe we can catch up with you a little further down the road when your projects are a little bit fluffed out, or maybe you're on to something new. Who knows? But we can revisit with you. Thanks again, ladies.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having us.
Bye, ladies.